Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this edition of Unpopular Review. While you're at it, why don't you give us a follow on these beautiful social media platforms known as Facebook and Twitter at Unpopular Review. But there's another one. Give us a follow on Instagram. We got funny pictures, we got updates, and we have things where we tell you everything that's going on. So why don't you give us a follow on Instagram at unpopular.review. And now, back to the show.
Good evening. I'm going to start the show a little bit different. I didn't tell my co-host this. Started on a somber note. Here at Unpopular Review, we want to keep the audience engaged and let them know as much as possible what's going on behind the scenes. And I just have to start out by saying I'm sorry. In the past, you've heard me really bash this and criticize it and really give it a label that I think as of today is really undeserving. And that's talking about Casper, saying what a bad movie it is. And it is a bad movie. But after tonight, I think we might have a new one for the crown. And so I just wanted to apologize to Casper and say perhaps I was too hard on you because clearly there was one that was far worse. So let's bring these co-hosts in there tonight. Tonight we have the guilty one herself. See the superior. See how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Look at that. All smiles. Here we go. Rise above the hate. The DR representative himself. How are you doing, Sugar Williams?
Chilling. Oh, I need a cigar.
And while he gets that cohiba going, we have the executive consultant fully engaged in tonight's episode. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fully engaged by hearing that tomfoolery at the beginning. I mean,
no, I thought
to say this is worse than Casper.
I have to do it, Chris. I have to apologize for Casper.
Yeah.
I think there might be someone for that crown.
That's definitely making one of us. I will never apologize to that ghost. That made me feel like a ghost at the end of it. So, yeah, there's that.
The hate has started already.
Tonight, if you don't know, by when we talked about how much we despise, how much we watched this movie called the Wendy Williams movie, ironically titled. That's the one we're going to talk about tonight. Tonight is actually Chrissy's pick in our foregoing movies of the month.
Yes.
That was Vix. How you doing? I'm going to give the synopsis, then Chris is going to take it, and she's going to tell us why she picked this movie. So here we are, the Wendy Williams movie. The Wendy Williams movie chronicles the ups and downs of her path towards the top, starting from her younger days growing up in New Jersey, all the way to her hosting her self-titled daytime talk show. So, Chrissy, would you tell us why you decided to pick this one?
All right. So I picked this movie because, as we all know, we are in Black History Month. And we are a movie review show. We're about film and entertainment. So I said, okay, well, if Black History Month is in part about celebrating accomplishments of African Americans in history, so why not celebrate the accomplishment of one Wendy Williams, who is an icon in the entertainment industry, who just came out with a movie. The stars were aligned. It was perfect timing. So I picked this movie.
Okay.
That's the long and short of it.
All right. That's fair enough. Not to be too long-winded. That's copyrighted, of course, by the man down there. We're going to jump to the first segment, which is best of, worst of, as we say hello to our number one fan. Hello. Oh my God. I really don't like her. You are not alone, Cameron. You are not alone. And no, she's not talking about Chrissy. She's talking about the aforementioned Wendy Williams.
Don't do that to Wendy. Poor Wendy. Okay, well, I'll start with my favorite scene. Favorite scene. My favorite scene was Let me start with my least favorite scene. My least favorite scene were the scenes with all of the narrative, or at the I don't know the name of what it's called, where it's the person is talking over the film.
voiceover.
The voiceover. I felt like it was just a little too much. It was like every other scene was a voiceover. So I feel like they probably should have toned that back a little bit. It was just a little overdone. My favorite scene were the scenes with Wendy Williams doing things that she was actually doing on the show. Like when she had the fainting and she was in the Statue of Liberty thing, because these are things that I remember seeing on air. So I said it was interesting that they brought it in the movie. Like I thought it was cool. So that's my favorite scenes.
All right. Anybody want to jump in there next?
Okay. My least favorite scene was where she got date raped by Ricky Bobby. And I'll tell you why. Now, the thing about that is just the way they set up that whole situation. It just seems like, come on now, you know where this is going.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, you can't be that naive. You know where this is going. Come on. At first, at the moment that he says, "Oh, listen, I gotta go to the crib to go get something right quick," she could have just been like, "All right, I'm gonna wait downstairs for you." He didn't do that. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I don't condone what he did. I'm not saying that I'm condoning what he did, but at the end of the day, like, you know, you going over there and then all of a sudden coming out like, "Oh no, I didn't know, I didn't get it. I was so naive and young." Like, I get that. You know, if you were 15, maybe. But clearly you were already in your 20s, like, you know what I mean? I felt like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not, you know, defending the guy. I'm not defending what he did. But at the end of the day, like, I don't believe that Wendy Williams was that stupid. I don't believe it. That part of it, I don't believe it. I really don't. I don't believe that she was that dumb. I think that at least that part of it was she probably made it a little bit more dramatical than what it actually was. Because the other thing is that I noticed that she didn't, like, she happens to talk about that, but then she doesn't talk about the first marriage. Like, she just brings over she talks about that, but then not the first marriage. She brings over the first marriage because clearly, like, it wasn't juicy enough. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, I respect it because, you know, this is a hustle. But, like, I just feel like all the other stuff I think was real, but that whole situation, I feel like it was, you know, blown up a little bit. What do I like? Now, I remember, you know, some of those scenes, especially like when Wendy came back to New York, like the media hype went crazy over her coming back to New York. And the thing about it is just that, like, I think that this whole situation of her building herself up and just showing that, I liked all of it. I appreciated it. I appreciated all of it because she just had a can do will, I won't stop will, you're not gonna stop me type of attitude. I mean, you know, who knows how accurate most of this is. Even though, like, Wendy Williams has always been known to just be out there with her stuff and her feelings and, you know, her world. So yeah, most of it I did like. It was just simple things like that. And I mean, the other thing, like, I don't really think she even needed that much plastic surgery, but hey, to each his own.
Okay. Chris, what about you? You want me to go?
I'll talk about some worst scenes first. The worst scene that I had clearly was the rape scene. One, I just don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. It was a little too graphic, even though it was staged, but of course it was a movie. It's just, I completely understand what Vic's saying, with James somewhat supporting what Vic is saying. I got what you're saying. At the same time, whether you know what time of day it is or not, you know, she still was put in a situation she should not have been put in, and he should have been a little bit more aware. Like, I mean, when a woman says no, or a man for that matter, when someone says no, the answer is no. So whether she put herself in a situation, which clearly she did, and that's one of my favorite phrases, don't put yourself in the situation. Whether she put herself in that situation or not, when she says, okay, you know what, no, the answer is no. I think it was a little too, how can I put this without making it sound like I'm insensitive? And I'm probably just going to say this going to sound insensitive. I had a problem with how it was because as a man still, I felt like her no was not strong enough, if that makes any sense.
I got you.
I know some men say, or even some women like yes means no and no means yes, but she was just like, well, she didn't say no, like get the F off me. She had no problem cursing the other time, like no, get the F off of me. And I feel like that should have been emphasized a little bit more if she's trying to portray it to where she was trying to portray it. But it still was rape, and it still was wrong, and that that made me uncomfortable. And of course, then you look and you find certain things differently because of that. So that was definitely, unquestionably, my least favorite scene. I'm just not a fan of rape at all. As far as best scenes, one is this echo in this soundtrack right now because I love hearing my voice. But besides this echo, my favorite scene would have to be just her realization that she does not need people to be successful. She had a goal, she had a dream. No matter how she went about getting it, she was able to put herself on the map. She was able to do something that no one else was able to do, especially as somebody being of her complexion and being of her gender. And she's still going strong as of today, even with a lot of setbacks. And she is ridiculed greatly in the media or people at home. But she's still out there and she's still being successful. And that's something to admire, no matter anything else that's going on. She's going on with her.
There's a little feedback there. But yeah, okay, I can see that she definitely prevails, through all of the drama and all of the gossip and stuff, because it's very much still going on today. But who's next?
Chris, was that yours? That was the totality of it?
Yes, we're trying to limit to 3 minutes, people. 3 minutes for y'all.
All right. Let me go through this. I'll say I'll start with my best because I only have one. My best of scene is when you actually see the real Wendy Williams at the end of the episode and she's looking directly into the camera. Why I like that is because there's a point where her voice cracks and it seems like you're really seeing her true self and she's being self-reflective for once. And I actually like that because it seemed like it was coming from the heart. Whether I agree with her or like her or not is irrelevant. I like when people speak from the heart, and this is supposed to be a biopic about her life. So I actually want to hear what she has to say. That's the only part that I liked in this entire movie. The parts that I didn't like, and I'll jump to a couple of them, the main points. In this movie, she's always playing the victim, or at least that's how it came across to me. And then, the triumphant one despite the circumstances. I'll jump to 3 different points. In the beginning of the movie, she talks about how she grew up as the chubby kid or the fat kid, however she described it. I forget the verbatim of it, right? And in that same scene, she talks about how her brother would give her candy and she was overeating. It's not like, she was just genetically, fat. She was eating the Twinkies and sneaking food, and the mother was trying to have her on. I'm just trying to make it plain. You know what I mean? She was overeating, so she was fat. That's what happens. It's biology, right? They showed that in the movie. The second one, and understand when I say this, because there seems to be problem nowadays with nuance. So understand what I'm saying and listen carefully to the words that I'm saying, right? And don't filter it, but just hear me out. I'm going to mention the rape scene. Here's what I mean by that. I took it that the guy absolutely meant and intended to rape her. He was going to have sex with her by any means necessary, by whatever means, right? I don't take it that he didn't know that she didn't mean no, it wasn't forceful or anything like that, right? But what I'm saying is that I would agree then with Vic and what Chris said. And I'll say this because I had to look this up. One, I don't like it because the man is dead. So that's a big accusation, right? And his widow has even come out and spoken out against that because if this happened, because again, I'm not going to say it happened. I don't know that. This is an allegation that Wendy Williams has alleged against this man after he's dead. That's a huge allegation, by the way. But when I looked it up, I found out that apparently she said that she was raped in college as well. The movie doesn't have any mention of that. It just mentions that she went to college and she got a job in the Caribbean, I think it was. Now, if she got raped in college and that's the first time she got raped, I'm very curious why it wasn't in this movie. But my point being, of always playing the victim and everything like that, is the movie posits that she was heavily addicted to coke and was in that world, right? I'm not saying it's impossible, but the movie doesn't show her to be an addict. Like, she has no idea what day it is. She was a functioning addict. That's how the movie says it. This guy, who we never hear about other than that point, says, hey, we need to come to my hotel. She might have gone to the hotel and said, okay, hurry up and get things, whatever, like that. But she just seemed like to be like a little lamb, a little kitten all of a sudden. And again, it was one more thing that kept playing the thing, plus on top of the rape. And it was just like the bounce back. The next scene we see, she's wearing, some leotard for attention. And it's almost like she's trying to take possession of her body and control of her situation. It was too, the contrast was too much for me. There was no, hey, this happened to me and I needed to
that part didn't
back.
seem authentic.
But like it was like no process of what just happened. And that was a bit much for me, right? And then lastly is she talks about how she's always been attracted to thugs, right? And she's always liked them. However, and she says that verbally, and this is something that I touched on before time and again. She says something in a visual medium, but we never see it, right? So we only see Kevin as, protecting her from that girl group, total, and being her manager and wanting her to have success and know they need to pay you what you're owed, and then waiting on her hand and foot. And the only bad that we see of him is he's cheating on her habitually. Right? From the time she doesn't even know when it started. Okay. But again, you picked him knowing that he was a thug. That's what you like, knowing how they are. You see what I'm saying? And then you find out that he's cheated on you. It's not like you're in the middle of the country or wherever, and you're impoverished and he's your source of income, right? Or you need help taking care of the kids that you all have. She's a rich woman by then. So again, it's like taking ownership of it. And then there's a time in dialogue in the movie where she goes, I would have left him, but I knew my son only had 2 more years of high school. I didn't get that. And I really had a problem with that because it's like, again, he's not living up to your standard, right? You're positing yourself to the world as a strong woman. You've made it through your skill and charisma and everything like that, and you want the respect. Why should I respect you if you're staying in this abusive relationship that he's potentially bringing diseases back to you? It doesn't make sense to me. The other stuff that I didn't like, I'll get to more on later when we go to the recasted, but it always showed her in a positive light, and it never showed her have any hiccups. And this is reminiscent of what Chrissy said when we were talking about the John Lewis documentary. When they do these documentaries and the people are still alive, that's why I found it interesting that Chrissy picked this one, because obviously Wendy Williams is still alive, but she's never cast in a negative light. In this movie, Wendy Williams did no wrong. Now, if you talk to anybody who's always right and never does any wrong, that's almost always a psychopath.
I mean, she is a little narcissistic.
No, but that's my point. But in this movie where she's keeping it real, all the villains are around her, and she's managed to rise to the top despite them. But she's committed. If you compare that to Ray, and when he was alive, he wanted them to show, no, I want you to show that I cheated on my wife. I want you to show that I was heavily addicted to drugs. I want you to show all my downfalls. He said that to Jamie Foxx. But in this one, it's like she has a model body always. She could do coke and there was no consequences for that. She was a faithful wife always and was with Kevin, even though he was slinging it raw here and there and there. You know what I mean? I'm like, Wendy, when did you ever break with me?
I'm trying to make sure there's no noise, y'all. Y'all need to stop. Go ahead, continue, Jay.
Well, now you sound like you're in a tunnel.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And you're out, and you're obviously in the bathroom. Our viewers,
I saw that.
our viewers,
No,
like,
like, no.
I was like, what is that about? And she did. She had her mannerisms down, but she looked nothing like. I mean, her face looked like Wendy, but Wendy's body never looked like that. Not even today when she's at her smallest weight. I'll get more into that in my recasted. But again, it was like, if you're gonna talk, the only bad thing they showed about her is when she fainted. But again, they didn't even say why she really fainted. It was like more, oh, the stress. My husband is slinging raw.
Yeah, it seemed like they kind of were implying that it was her drinking wine or something. That's why she was. I'm like,
and I said, Wendy, you're doing too much.
Yeah, there were a lot of lies.
And you're talking about all these people, and you're saying, who's secretly closeted, who's sleeping with who in the industry. If you're gonna be doing all that, and so messed up your credit, Eric B, messed up your credit. Wendy, have you ever done anything wrong? In this movie, she's always the victim, and I just don't like that victim mentality. Thank you for this comment.
All right.
I kind of get it because it was put on Lifetime. So because it was put on Lifetime, like, it kind of makes sense why they would go that flow. You know what I mean? Because this movie, I think this movie was clearly for one specific demographic. This movie was not supposed to go in the theaters or any of that. So, like, I think that it flows because of who they're speaking to. She's not speaking to us. She's not.
Who do you think the demographic is? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I know this is a movie for women to inspire women. That's what this is for. Okay. That's what this movie is for. This movie is not for men.
I think that she wanted to tell her story in what light that she wanted to tell it in. Now, clearly, she's missing out a lot.
Because she's lying. That's the thing. She created her story.
We can't say for sure that she's lying. We can speculate. I also agree that it seems like there were some lies happening. But I can't say for sure.
No, I mean, look, we can't. We can't.
Right, but all right, look. Getting a lot of stuff.
Look, we can't. Hold on. We can't say that. We can't say that, right? We can't say that, but we all speculate that.
Yes.
No. I think what people fail to understand is this is something from her perception. So everything you're seeing is from her perception of what she believes is the truth. Everything you saw in this movie, unfortunately, the most dangerous type of person, and James alluded to this a little bit earlier, the most dangerous type of person is somebody who believes in the bull crap that they're spewing. And I'm not saying that anything she's saying is bull crap. I think almost everything she told in that movie is the truth from her point of view, not from all sides. And I think that's something else that I'll discuss a little bit more in my final thoughts. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and take our first
perspective. I'll give you that.
Thank you, sir. We're going to take our first commercial break. We'll be right back after this commercial message. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Unpopular Review.
I don't have any recastings. Wait, I do. I do have a recasted. Hang on.
I'm hanging. I'm waiting.
Let me put it. All right.
Here you go.
Oh, let's see.
All right. It's a lot of stalling going on.
I feel like this lady right here.
What lady?
I was shocked to see her. Wait, hang on. Let me put the thing.
I thought some action was about to happen and nothing happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're listening to the audio. You and I both are waiting for something to happen.
Right.
She did a cameo in this movie as a model and all of that.
Sherry Henry.
But it would have been a little bit more fitting.
Beautiful. Recasted wearing that outfit. Thank you so much, Vic, for those 5 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're watching Unpopular Reviews. We're going to go.
I don't want your suffering. I don't want your future. Please. We need you to hope again.
All right, and we're back. And don't forget, next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about Days of Futures Past. So please join us for that movie next week. But we're back to Wendy Williams. Here we are. We're going into quotables. So who would like to go first? Because I know you guys have some wonderful quotes.
No, I only got one. I'm my own best friend. I didn't even write it down because that just, you know, embodies the whole movie.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I'm my own best friend.
Okay.
You know, that's all you need. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and go next. I have quite a few though. So first quote I got from close to the beginning of the movie. Wendy, you'd be so beautiful if you just lose some weight. And I like that quote because I grew up as a fat kid, and I heard this quote almost all the time in my childhood, all the time, literally, like every other like family reunion, every other day at school, it was like, you'd be so pretty if you just lose weight. And it's something that I guess apparently that is told to a lot of young girls, especially young chubby girls. So that quote really spoke to me because it was so familiar. My next quote is, I just thought it was funny, so I had to write down. Mother effer, I paid you 911 2 hours ago. I just thought that was so funny. And maybe it was the way she delivered it and the fact that, you know, they're paging people. And like, I know it was like in the 80s, but it's still, or 90s. It's just still so funny. But like, you really had to page someone 911 and hope and pray they find a payphone to call you back.
I mean, there was a lot of payphones though.
You know, the funny thing is I ran into a payphone at an IHOP like a couple years ago, and I was so shocked to see it. I took a picture of it.
Nice.
But my next quote, because this is when she meets up with Kevin and asks him to meet her at her job, you know, to pick her up for kind of like their first date or whatever. So she gets in his car and she says this: "Are you in a relationship? Does someone think they're in a relationship with you? How old are you? Is this car registered under a woman? and if it is under a woman, it better be your mother." And this was so funny to me because these are the questions that women have to ask, because guys, like a lot of guys like to do, they like to, you know, mislead and, you know, do that thing on the side, which he, you know, we found out that that's his thing. He is a little bit of a cheater. But you got to be real thorough with your question, because, you know, if there's a crack to ease out of the lie, they're going to take it. Don't shake your head. It's the truth.
So, I think that's a strong statement that you just made. You said a lot of guys like to do that. I think I understand. I'm not putting this on you, but because you said it, I'll say it to you. I think that may be your experience rather than the actual truth. You know, there may be men to whatever, I mean, or guys, I should say, because I don't think that men cheat the same way. I don't think that women cheat. I think that's an immature thing to do. But to counter that, she asked him all those CIA questions, and he was still running game on her for a number of years. So
yeah, that's what I said. He was still being sneaky.
She picked a cheater because that's what she liked. So she got exactly what she was looking for.
Well, I say I'm basing it off of the experience of the women that I speak with. I haven't met a woman who hasn't been cheated on.
I don't know the women that you're talking to, but I would ask them, because oftentimes the female part of the woman, I posit this, goes after certain types. Certain types cheat. Certain types have propensities to do certain things, and I would ask what their type is. You understand the question or the statement that I'm making?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Huh? Pardon?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but
I'm not saying that
I think more people, there are types that do cheat. Yes, I think there are certain characteristics that, you know, you can look for. They say, okay, well, this person seems like a cheater, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But I think that there are also outliners, as there are in like a lot of things. You can't really judge a book by its cover. You can't really say, okay, well, this person is going to be a cheater. I know because, you know, he seems like the type. It just seems like it's hard to narrow it down in that way. I feel like it's, I don't know.
I honestly, I don't think it's that simple.
I would agree with that to a certain extent.
I think that anybody would cheat if they don't give a shit. Straight up. Like if you don't care, you're gonna go taste something else.
And two,
straight up. If you don't give a fuck, you're gonna, you know what I mean? Like if you care, because it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? I gotta stand up. I gotta shove anyway. I gotta do it. You know what I mean? So I gotta be in my conscience in order to make it happen. You feel what I'm saying? But in order for me to do that, my future wife is gonna be, you know what, bitch, I don't give a fuck about you no more. That's what I gotta do. You know what I mean? I can't do that. So, you know, I feel like if people are in a position where they feel like they already single, that they start acting.
You have a lot of anniversary. I have to apologize for every single member of UPRE. We used to be a PG-13 show. I don't know what happened to that. I feel like it's gone away weeks ago.
Because we're talking about adult things over here. We're talking about grown folks' business.
And you can still talk about adult things by using PG language. I mean, I just think you could. I could be wrong. Speaking of being wrong, that's all right. Yeah, you have more than a couple in that. Then tell that to MPAA. But look, so all I want to say is I believe that majority of humans cheat. That's just
MPAA.
Okay.
You believe the what? Say that again, Chris.
I think the majority of the humans cheat, men or women. I think majority of men cheat. I think majority of women cheat. I think humans cheat. That's just my.
Would you say that they cheat in the same way, or they cheat in different ways, but they still cheat?
They cheat in any way they figure like they can get away with it. Now, some men can cheat a little bit differently than women, and some women can cheat a little differently than men. But I've seen a lot of women play the game just as strong as women, and some women play the game just as strong as men. It's just how it is. Majority of people I know
are better.
And that's the argument of the majority of people I know have cheated. I don't care. I'm not throwing any names out there. I'm not trying to throw any of my friends under the bus.
Oh, please do.
Saying,
this is the Wendy Williams movie, so we're spilling tea.
I'm not doing that. Majority of the friends I know. Nobody on this panel. If it makes them feel better, nobody on this panel has cheated, as far as I know. But majority of my friends have cheated. Has Chris cheated? Yes. Chris been cheated on? Yes. Let's move on. Let's go on to the next person to do the quotables, which will be me. I have one quote. It's a paraphrase because I don't remember it, and unfortunately, it's not on the line. But she was in a car. She was trying to leave Philly to go to New York. Who does that? I have no idea. She was trying to leave Philly to go to New York, and she was talking to her old friend there. And the friend said, "Look, I'm going to call you tomorrow. I'm going to give you a number, and you're going to like it." Also sounds like something Chris would say. James, on you.
Wait. Just to piggyback off that, you know that about a third of the population of Philadelphia drives to New York every day? Yeah. Who does that?
Do you know
the majority of the people? Okay, then.
You know what that tells me?
You know what that tells you? That ain't no money in your city.
No, you know what that tells me? That tells me
ain't no money
people rather work.
Ain't no money in your
People rather work and make money in New York and then live in Philly because nobody wants to live in that random.
They gotta go. They gotta go glorify a guy that
played the part of James Best today. Play the part of James Best today. Victor Rodriguez,
you know what?
It's had a rebuttal for everybody tonight. See, take control of your show. Like Shug Williams is Shug Knighting. This whole thing going on.
Actually, right? You know what's funny? I am kind of acting like Wendy's husband. Let me go away.
I have no idea what's going on or being talked about right now.
You're not the only person, Cap. So won't you? So while Vic is over there capping, go ahead and go on with your quotable, sir.
All right. I would agree with both Chrissy and Vic. I don't know if the majority, but I when couched the way Chris puts it, they cheat in their own way. It's not always sexual. Sometimes it's emotional cheating or distancing, which could be cheating, a separation or such when you're in a committed whatever. So I in that sense, yes. And to Vic's point, I think that males and females, they look at it differently. Whereas a man may be more physical, but emotionally he's not there. The women may emotionally be somewhere else, but physically there. And so that's why I think what Chris said has merit to that regard. And so we're looking at it through different lenses. As Vic says, this movie is made for a certain audience. And as Chris says, it's through her lens of what happened as opposed to the totality of what actually happened. Chris, what'd you say?
I said, plus my name is Chris.
Okay,
I don't know what
quotables.
the last part means, ladies and gentlemen. Well, let me go to my quotables. If you really want to know my truth, now it's time for me to dish my own dirt. I want to highlight in that part, know my truth. This is what we were just talking about. Here's another one that Wendy says in this movie. You know how attractive a thug is when he lets his guard down. I've heard a lot of, I'll say females, because I don't think a woman talks like this, and understand when I separate the two. A woman is a mature female, the same as a man is a mature male. That's what the definition is. It's a fully matured. And so when we think in the immature brain, I'm going to refer to it as the immature person. So I've heard a lot of females talk like this, saying they like a bad boy or thug, whatever the, fill in the blank is. It's always the same thing, and it always ends up being the same story, and then they always end up getting hurt. So in this movie, again, to my point, I don't know what she thought the alternative would be. If that's what she was going for, that's what she got. Here's another one. Kevin may not have been the man my mom prayed for, but he was the man I prayed for. Again, a thug with a heart of gold. All right. And then I like this scene just because it was something I would say, as Chris says, he would sound like the guy, the boss at that radio station. This is me as the doctor. Wendy's saying, oh, my husband is cheating on me and everything like that, right? And he's there. The doctor's there to check on her pregnancy. And she's crying. She's like, oh, my husband's cheating on me. And he goes, obviously, I'm your physician, not a marriage therapist. he says it so deadpan in the movie. That is something I've done before. Like, I don't know why you're telling me this. It has no bearing on what we're talking about right now. We can get to that at a later point, but this is the job. So I like when he said, obviously, I'm your physician, not a marriage therapist. That's my last quote.
Nice. And he was right. She wouldn't have listened anyway, honestly. Well, not just her, but a lot of women don't listen when they do go to a therapist.
That's what I'm saying, Charmaine, because I don't know. Because again, we never see Wendy bleed, to quote another movie. She's like, the perfect example of womanhood, allegedly, according in her mind. So, did she do no wrong ever? I find that hard to believe.
There was one scene where I thought that's what she was actually going to cheat on him. There was one scene where she
was talking to some guy or something.
Yes,
right?
And she was pouring him wine. I said, okay, she's trying to seduce this man. Like, what's
I didn't know where it was going.
I
said, oh, is she gonna sleep with him to get back at Kevin or something?
That's what I thought too.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
I wonder if what the case were in outside of the biopic, I should say. But let's go on to recast it. Now, again, it's a little hard to recast documentaries, but this is a biopic, so there are actors here, so I felt perfectly comfortable recasting some folks. But I'll give the gentleman a chance to go first. Who would like to go?
I got one.
Okay.
I got one. And for some reason, this is the person, as soon as I saw Wendy Williams' husband, I just could not stop thinking about this person, hence the name. Because he just fits, because that's what he just fits the bill so much. I mean, hold up, did that actor play good Suge Knight?
I don't know, but I feel like he looked a lot like her husband in real life. Obviously, like the movie version. Yeah, but he looked a lot like him.
You know who I kept thinking of when I saw the actor playing the husband? Baby.
Baby. Respect my name. Oh, okay.
That's who I kept early
Dirty Dancing.
Early 2000s.
Dirty Dancing.
Not Baby today, but Baby back then. But he I said, damn, I should recast it. That's who I kept thinking of to recast him as, because he looked so much like him.
That's
the one hanging out with Lil Wayne. You know what I'm talking about, Chrissy, right?
Yeah. Put some respect on my name. I ain't gonna say it no more.
Birdman.
Yeah,
Birdman.
His nickname is Baby, right?
His nickname is Baby. That's the thing. You're just too young for that one. That's all. Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead.
I know Miss Birdman too.
Yeah.
So you don't feel bad.
Okay, thank you.
That's how I know. And the guy that likes kissing Lil Wayne on the lips. That's how I know him. I don't know these two. I mean, maybe Baby's what Lil Wayne called him after his little smooch.
That's his nickname is Baby. They call him Baby.
That's what.
And I guarantee only men call him that. And ironically, C did not know, but you two did. So anyway, C the Superior, go ahead with your recasted, please, because I don't have one.
Okay, so my recasted is going to be for this gentleman right here. And when you're looking at him, you're wondering who the heck did this man play?
Why is he reminding me of Officer Hairline?
You know, the funny thing is, he played another character or another person who is kind of notorious for his hairline, but for different reasons, because he shaved his head bald not that long ago, or before he became famous, shall I say. But he actually was casted to play this man here, Charlemagne the God.
Was that who that was supposed to be?
Oh, that's who that was. Word.
Yes.
I was thinking about that. I was like,
because I was looking for Charlemagne.
They should have just put Charlemagne in the damn movie.
Charlemagne,
I don't think he wanted to be in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think they are on good terms.
Yeah, are they cool? Yeah, they're not cool no more.
They may, but he doesn't like her husband.
I mean, who does?
But
who does?
Wendy.
I was thinking, why did they cast this man? And I was thinking it could have been like he was just the best at the audition. He was such a great actor. But he had all of 3 words in the movie. So they could have cast anybody.
No, it's probably the lowest budget. They could have they could have just put a stand in easily. They could have easily
they could have just had him on the phone or something. But
this could have been Charlemagne.
But who I recasted Charlemagne as, who I don't think would do a good job, especially considering they only said 3 words in the movie, or only had to say 3 words, was this guy right here, OG Genesis. He's a rapper. I'm not sure if you guys know about him. He had a really
or OG? OG,
right? Isn't it OG? Oh, sorry, OT Genesis. But he had a really good song, but that Beyonce covered for her Coachella performance. That was epic. That's how I know him, from Beyonce.
Cool.
But
what is the song? What is the song that we would know him?
Is it Everybody Mad? That's the one. That's the one.
Had a lot of hits.
Well, I don't know about him. I don't know his music. Let me say, but I do know Beyonce, and she covered one of his songs. So, but I feel like he looks more similar to Charlemagne the God than the actor that they played to say 3 words that looks nothing like him. So that's my recast.
Okay.
Some songs from OT is Push It, which is push it, 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 push it. Once in the moon. That's Salt and Pepper.
That's Salt and Pepper. That's Salt and Pepper.
Baby. Ooh, baby. I haven't heard
that's the baby you were talking about earlier.
And Cut It. Cut It.
Okay, I know that one about cutting bricks and all that. Yeah, okay.
Cut It.
Well,
Cut It. Cut It. Cut It.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
maybe he does have a lot of songs. It's just not that. I don't know.
No. I named the 2. I named the 2. Y'all knew the 1. So. All right, so I'm glad to see you did your 1 recasted. Shug Williams, you did your 1 recasted. Now on to Cap and pull up a chair. That's all.
Now's the part of the show where we get to why I named myself Cap. Because this movie, if nothing else, was pure Cap. We had stuff in here that was obviously BS. This is a PG show, so I'll say BS. But we already dropped enough. It's a rated R. This movie was nothing but pure bullshit. This movie was nothing but pure bullshit. from opening scene. Okay, I thought I was watching Hocus Pocus, and I said, "Dear God, no." Then it became Casper. Then it just became Hell on Earth. But anyway, let me get to my recasting. So this is Wendy Williams. No, wait, that's not her. I mean, this is Wendy Williams. No, wait, that's not her. This is Wendy. No, that's not her. This is Wendy Williams.
Yes.
One of those doesn't look like the others. Can you guess which one it is? I'll give you a hint. This, or that. One of them doesn't look the same. This, or that. Which one could it be? Now, granted, this Wendy Williams today looks closer to this as far as body type, but why is she like the size of a model? To Chris's point, this movie was filmed entirely in Wendy Williams' head. Because she looks like this through the whole movie. When she's pregnant, when she's not pregnant, when she's 19 years old, when she's when she dumps Kevin and she takes over sole ownership of the company of Wendy Williams show. But we all seen Wendy Williams in real life. The little girl playing her, and this is nothing against her, she looked like when she was a kid, was the closest to actually looking like Wendy as a child, right? But as far as a body, Wendy Williams is closest in size to this actress right then in the modern age. But this is Wendy when she worked at Hot 97 before it became Hot 97, right? She doesn't look like that. What are we talking about? This movie was pure cap. It's supposed to be a biopic, but it took place entirely within her head. That's why I didn't know what the hell I was watching. That's my recasting.
Well, I can't say you're wrong. That's all I'm going to say. I can't disagree.
She was when it was 7 of 9, the whole movie.
Look, like, she said this is her biopic. She going to tell it how she want to tell it. That is ill.
We'll take a commercial break. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stay with us. Unpopular review.
I want y'all to set up a fake buy. Because somebody's snitching.
I wonder if the snitch is, what's his name, the big boy, Dante, because he was in the same ASA lab. He was in the same ASA lab with Black Lightning. Remember, he was like, I'm not even a meta. That was him. And the fact that he's so close to Lala.
He's the snitch. He's wearing a big sign on his big back. He's obviously the snitch.
I think he's the snitch, yeah. Oh, you think it's obvious? I think he's the snitch.
Oh, yeah. The only thing more obvious is if he stepped in front of traffic in the broad daylight and he's blocking the sun. That's the only thing more obvious. Besides that, yeah, it's definitely.
Please familiarize and observe the rules while in Fun World. No running. No jumping. No yelling. That means you enjoy your stay.
We don't die, we multiply!
All right, everyone, and we are back yet again, and we will be doing Bebe's Kids next week as well. This would be Chris's pick, I believe. Chris, did you pick Bebe's Kids?
Yeah, I did pick it next Thursday right here at 9:15. Bebe's Kids. We are here reviewing Wendy Williams, the movie. And ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long time coming, but it's time to hear what I really want to hear. My favorite segment for this movie, and that is final thoughts. And see this appear. We're going to start off with you because ladies first. If we can just mute everybody else because I just hear noise.
Okay, so my thoughts about this movie. I thought that there were a lot of things that were left out, allegations that I've heard over the years as far as, I won't go into them, but if you know, there's a lot of stuff that has been said that wasn't necessarily addressed. I understand that, it's because I think she was the executive producer behind this film. And as I said, again, from the last documentary that we did, when someone is alive, and especially when someone has creative control over the film, it's sometimes they're always seems to shine themselves in the best light, even if that's not necessarily reality or if that's the case. I will say that this movie was interesting to watch. Like, it was it accurate? Maybe not, we weren't there to say. but it was a short movie. It moved at a quick pace. It was easy to, you know, to follow along with. Some of the ladies that I spoke with about this movie, they enjoyed this movie. This was a Lifetime movie. Vic mentioned something like, okay, it has a certain demographic. I didn't agree with the reason why he said it, but I do agree that, yeah, it is for women. It's on Lifetime. With that being said, I will say that I enjoyed this movie. It's not an Oscar film. If you're looking for Oscar-worthy material, you're not going to get it. But I thought about, for the demographic it's going for, would they enjoy this movie? And I'm a woman, and I enjoyed this movie. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and get to the next person, which will be Williams.
Okay, so this movie, above all else, and because of several reasons. Number one, the quick pacing. Number two, the narcissism. Number three, the fact that it was on Lifetime. Is for one audience and one audience only. And that is the group of girls that's like, how you doing? Shout it out. How you doing? All of those girls. It's for her audience. It's for the people that mark from Wendy Williams. Why do I say that? The production value was very low. That's like James alluded to earlier. She looked exactly the same from her early 20s to her almost 50s. You know, with the big boobs and the whole thing. She wanted to project the image of what she is now, which is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So now, why did I like this movie? Because you can't knock her hustle. You can't stop it. I love that. I love a person that's not scared to hustle. I love it. I love every single time that she just showed a situation where there was some type of adversarial issue, and she just went through it and passed through it. And you could see that, especially when she was doing stuff with the radio, that was real. Like, I really, really appreciated that. I really appreciate her determination in order to get to the place that she was in. You know why? Because this person did not have anything handed to her. She doesn't come from like a rich daddy or anything like that. She's not like a Kardashian that got rich, that, you know, is just writing off of Bruce Jenner's name or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, she's somebody that built herself, made herself, and this is her story. But this story is, like I said, it's not for everybody. It's for her audience. It's for her marks. It's for the people that like her. It's like if DX were to release a DVD, it's not going to be for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So like that's pretty much what this is. She's not expecting to make a lot of money. Clearly, she didn't put that much money into this. Clearly. And I know that Chris is going to come back and tell us how much money was spent and all of that. Maybe if he found this out, because this movie was recently made. So yeah, I think that I give it a thumbs up because like I said, you can't knock her hustle. This is basically just an extension to her hustle. I appreciate it. I think that her fans are going to like it. And it's definitely going to, what it's definitely going to do is it's going to do what it was made for, period. And it's just going to keep making her bigger.
So once again, I want to apologize to Casper wholeheartedly. Clearly, I was wrong about how hard I came at you. You are still trash, but there's greater trash in the world, and you know that as well. And getting to the greater trash, let's talk about this movie. To Vic's point, you know, she hustled. Nothing was handed to her. Well, the movie says otherwise. You know, I'm not a fan of Wendy Williams. I think she's a hypocrite in that she talks about everybody else's gossip, but she doesn't talk about her own personal life. Where's that energy? Keep that same energy. That's what she says in the show a lot, right? Vic says that nothing was handed to her. I'm sorry, those Twinkies were handed to her over and over and over again, and she ate them. She ate them all. As far as the hustle, I would have liked to seen that in the movie, but they never showed it. And just as Chris has oftentimes has said, you know, I didn't go into this movie thinking highly of it, so it only had to meet a small benchmark. Had they actually shown her doing legwork other than I waited for this guy all week, so I just read tabloid magazines and I didn't have anything prepared that day, so I just read gossip that I had read all week, I would have like, oh, that's how she did it. Now, if it happens literally that all she did was read tabloid magazines over the course of 5 days while she waited to talk to this guy, hopefully, that's not a compelling story to me. But if I actually saw through the production or the script or in dialogue, you know, this is how I did it. They didn't want women in there. This is why Kathy Hughes, she threw Kathy Hughes under the bus, right? This billionaire, this self-made billionaire. And I'm like, well, why are you saying that Kathy Hughes didn't like you? What's that story? Where did that come from? Because from the onset, there was antagonism. Why is that? I don't know. The movie just says it, but it never tells me. How do you come back from, if this movie is made for women, and even though men are raped in this country statistically more so than women because of what happens in prison and everything like that, you can look this up. If it's for women, men don't think of themselves as victims. So if this is a project for women, I would have loved to hear how she said, or perhaps maybe one day I'll have a daughter. And unfortunately, I might have to have the conversation ahead of time. How do you pull yourself up having been raped like that or going through a traumatic situation? Does the movie tell me? It gives me no idea. What do you do when you realize that, hey, this is what I wanted, i.e. this thug, and, you know, he's not living up to the standard? I've come to a realization that I leave, even if I'm willing to lose everything. I juxtapose that with The Pursuit of Happiness, when his wife, because he lost his job, his wife left, and he was left with this young child. In real life, it was a baby. It was an infant. And he managed to get this internship at this Wall Street firm. That movie, they showed me how he did it. He was willing to sleep in these train stations, lock himself in the bathroom. It's unglamorous, it's dirty, but that's real life. Again, keep that same energy. She always says that. But time and again, when it's time for her to ante up, she never does that. I know that Kevin is a jerk. I know Sharina, whatever her name is, she has a nice house with a pool and all this other stuff that Wendy paid for and all that. I know that the staff felt abused by Kevin and everything. But I never saw when Wendy Williams was screaming at the production manager like I saw on the show. I saw that on the show. How come that wasn't there? Wendy's just passing out because she had a little bit too much wine and because Kevin's slinging raw. So again, it's an unfair depiction. And to Chris's point, the movie takes place entirely in her head. That's not a movie unless you show me, i.e. that Jim Carrey movie where all of it is going on in his head. And we know that going in there. This is just a propaganda piece. And, you know, I'm not a woman. I'm not a fan of Lifetime because, again, as I described most Christmas movies, they're nothing but Lifetime movies. I can't give this in good conscience a thumbs up, all joking aside. It didn't meet even that low benchmark of teaching me something new that I didn't know about Wendy. I know the same thing now that I know then. And the biggest thing, the glaring thing, and again, I can't say that she's lying, but I can't say that she's telling the truth because only she knows that and God knows that. And the man who was involved in that, if that happened, is dead. But notice that there's no name given for the one that happened in college that preceded this. This allegation didn't happen if this Lifetime movie didn't come out, and she's written several books. I find that discouraging. And I'll just say this. There's another movie called For Color Girls where we don't know any of these people. These are just archetypes of different Black women that you would see in the world. And there's a scene when a woman was date raped and nobody sees it coming because the guy is complete opposite and it's so brutal. And you care about that woman. You have compassion for that woman and you see her pick herself back up having been brutalized. It's a three-dimensional, view of a human being who happens to be a woman who happens to be Black. And I would have loved Wendy being the executive producer. It's her story. She has the cachet, the name cachet and all of that to do that in this. and she didn't. And the excuse is what? So it's a thumbs down.
I think it was just low budget.
No, I don't just give it an excuse.
No, I just don't think she spent a lot of money in this movie, period. You know what I mean? Just in general. Like, I think that she wanted to tell a story, a specific story. But as far as like production value, because every single piece costs money, I don't think they spent a lot. But I think we're about to find out.
No, we're not. They didn't actually release the money it cost to make this movie. I'm going to try to make this. Wow, that's so funny. I'm going to tell a quick story and see, you're going to have to forgive me because this is not going to be about the movie at all. But I do want to highlight a few things that I noticed, right? And you know what? I'm going to do the rare thing. I'm not going to highlight, but I'm going to do the rare thing. This is what I noticed. This was earlier. This is a comment. I want to read it. It says, "Good night, everyone. You have a good night. Kisses and hugs. Good night, Chris, James, Victor, and Chrissy." Then I see, "Oh my God, that is my movie." Then I see, "I didn't enjoy this movie. I give a thumbs down." Then I see, "Yes, yes, yes." So you know what else mean? We were so darn entertaining that Chrissy said, "You know what? I'm not going to go to bed, and we appreciate you and you being the only one in the comments besides that handsome double Christopher Harris." Now, let's go ahead and talk about it. Oh, yeah, Chrissy, Charmaine, whatever your name is. It gives them a C. You're the true superior, Charmaine. All right, so here's what we got with this movie, okay? It was a movie, right? And it had so much wrong with it. Oh, my God. So I'm watching a movie. And there's a saying that, you know, I didn't make up the saying, but it's a saying that I say a lot. It says, there are three sides to every story. Perhaps your side, the opposition side, and then the truth. Okay? And I'm a fascinated person when it comes to psychology. And this movie is just pure psychological blessing for somebody who loves psychology. Because you can see exactly it's enough internet. I think my roommate is on playing the game online. That's the problem. Stop. Anyway, so that's actually why I don't have it focused on me. But anyway, so I Jay, stop. You make me. It's a psychological dream for somebody who loves this. So. Would y'all stop? Because y'all making me lose focus. All right. Matter of fact, let's make it easier. Boom. So, so you can see that this movie pretty much just shows her that why are they muted and they still interrupted me? They are still interrupting me. This is so rude. This is so rude, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe if you're listening to us, I am no longer showing my face. And they are just like laughing so much here. It's bothering me that it's just, yeah, get out. See, can I just say it? Can y'all, matter of fact, all three of y'all leave. How about that? All three of y'all just go backstage while I say my piece because y'all interrupted me. All right, I now have to edit this video probably. So it's a psychological mess, this movie. You can see where she's participating in this movie, and she's just telling everything from her side, everything from what she sees in her eyes. And unfortunately, one of the biggest problems that humans have is when they're telling a story from their side and they're believing the story from their side, they don't see anything that they possibly have done wrong. I see certain things that you possibly done wrong. You're not going to tell me in that entire time you didn't cheat. You're not going to tell me that you didn't notice for years. You knew you cheated the first time. You paid attention to him and doing it another time, and then you just ignored it for a few more years. No, you knew. You were paying attention, and you were doing your dirt too. And there's no way in the world you can tell me that you weren't not doing that. So that's one thing that's kind of scary to me. Another thing that's scary to me, or I disagree when it comes to this movie, is not so much the fact that she looked the same, because you know you have to do what you have to do. The child was not fat. Child was not a toothpick, but the child was not fat. But I cracked up laughing when she broke that chair. So that was funny in itself, but it was just really, really sad to see Wendy Williams do that. However, at the same time,
that wasn't funny.
Yes, it was.
You know,
however,
that happened to me one time, and that's not a good time. Okay, shoe fly with that. That was not funny. That was very sad.
So after I laughed at that scene, I was realizing that I was watching the movie, and I admire, and James said it correctly, I didn't see the hustle, but you know that she had to do stuff to get there. Now, granted, I've never seen somebody take coke that well. She took coke for years and had no side effects. Never seen it. That is some strength. I applaud you, Wendy Williams. That is some strength. But where I actually empathize a little with you is I know how it feels when you think you have somebody that you really are in love with, and they're just doing you dirty, and they're just milking you dry, and they're draining you emotionally. I understand that more so than I let people know. So I felt for her in that time because she knew the guy was doing wrong. That's why I said I wish she acknowledged that a little bit more in this movie. She could have still did that. I know she knew what he was doing was wrong, but because, and she said it, this is the man I'm going to marry. This is the man who is what I wanted. And you saw even through the miscarriages and stuff like that. I mean, we know he cheated, but every time she showed him outside of cheating, it was so nurturing and so caring. Look at how look how he rolled up when Total was trying to beat her ass outside of that building. Acted all thuggish. Hey, who wants to see me? And stuff like that. She still cares for this man because of everything that he did do right for her, despite what everybody else sees. This is what she saw in most of that relationship. And she told that story. And I've been there because I've been in such a relationship. And I still always remember the good things that happened to me in that relationship. It bothers me, but that's how it is. So because she even had the strength to do even that, and the fact that realistically speaking, I mean, yeah, I think Chrissy said it perfectly. It wasn't an Oscar-winning movie, but did I enjoy it? Yes, I did. I did enjoy the movie. So it gets a thumbs up for me. Was it a perfect movie? Hell no. It was so many things wrong with this movie. I could make it a third cheese in my omelet, but I still enjoyed the movie. So I will still give credit where credit is due for this movie. Wendy Williams, you are a person who needs help. And you know what? I also like your journey. Because I know you're watching. I also like your journey. You start off in Washington, D.C., and I got, goosebumps and stuff like that, hearing Kathy Hughes and the radio stations and stuff like that. Then you went on to New York to try to make your money. New York was a piece of shit, so you decided to go over to Philadelphia like you're supposed to, and I thought that was great. Then you went back to New York because you wanted to make some more money, which I respect, and then you had a problem, so you moved down to Florida, which of course I do respect because that's where you go to rehab. So I respect Eddie.
That was the movie in a nutshell. You just told. What else happened? She moved to Florida. She moved here. She moved there. But yeah, that was the show, guys.
You're gonna die.
Yes, she lived.
Ooh, ooh.
Shout it
Take us home,
Something feeling.
Like you mean it.
Do it. Shout it out. Ooh, ooh. Before I get long-winded. Oh,
right. No. I said, take us home.
First of all, let me just do it, Wendy Williams, some justice. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us for another edition of Unpopular Reviews. Join us next week as we review X-Men Days of Future Past. Can't wait for that one, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fantastic. Thank you, and have an amazing evening. Bye. Ooh, ooh.